Thank you very much for that question. I begin by saying good morning, Nigeria, and also happy World Food Day in Arias. It happened yesterday, actually. Now, maybe just to say something about the World Food Day before I come to the question you are asking. The World Food Day, is a global event of the FAO that is celebrated every 16th of October. And it's been celebrated in over 150 countries where FAO has membership in those countries. So this World Food Day is actually to identify and also empathize with the people who are food insecure. As it is now, about 733 million people around the globe are acutely food insecure. So World Food Day is about identifying with these families, empathizing with them, and also reiterating the actions that needs to be taken in order to see that this trend is actually stopped or maybe backslided. So maybe to come to your question, maybe according to the cadre harmonisé of March 2024, there are about 31.8 million people in Nigeria that are acutely food insecure. However, very quick caveat, this analysis was actually done on 26 states plus FCT, meaning that there are some other 10 states in Nigeria that were not included in this analysis. Maybe putting these two together, the figures may be more than what is obtainable, what is we're having now, that at 1.8%. So that is the situation as it is now.
When you give us these statistics, can you make it more relatable so that we will understand, the severity of what we're facing?
Okay, what it means is that, when we talk about the global food insecurity, we are talking about 733 million people, which is really very significant. And also for Nigeria to have about 31.8 million people who are food insecure. And unfortunately, about maybe 1/3 of this are just from one region of the country, maybe the Northwest. Which is,
when you say food insecure, does it mean that people who probably cannot afford to buy, cannot afford to eat 3 square meals a day? What do you mean by that?
Okay, when we say people are food insecure, meaning that, they cannot, when we define food insecurity, we are defining it in different forms. There is the availability, the accessibility, the stability, the utilization. So when we say people are insecure, we are actually looking at all these elements of food insecurity. When we're talking about availability, that they do not have available food. Availability comes from the farm, when you produce the food yourself, or when you are being given handouts for food, or when you are having something in the warehouse for your family use. Affordability has to do with your ability to buy the food from the market. People do not have the resources to go to the market to buy, even if the food is available in the market. That one is an element of food insecurity. When we're talking of stability, is how stable is your food security? Maybe if you now get all the right food that you consume now, do you have the guarantee that over the next 1 week, are you going to have that kind of food security, or over the next 1 month, over the next 12 months in a year? So these are the things that we now analyze and see. Then we talk about utilization. It is not about just food, but also about nutritious food. Having food is one thing, but having nutrition is another thing. So for normal functioning of the, of the body, you need nutritious food. If the diversity of the food is such that it does not make up to the level at which we can now say you are fully diversified, it can be counted as food insecurity. So all these elements are now being put together to find out, okay, who are those that fall short of the threshold of this element of food insecurity, and they are now termed as food insecure.
So which class of people mainly fall within this figure?
It is mainly the poor smallholder farmers who do not actually have the requisite inputs as a result of so many things. There are so many drivers to this food insecurity.
Give us a few.
Okay. First, conflicts. Conflicts are one of the key drivers of insecurity worldwide, and particularly in Nigeria. If you now take a look at some regions of Nigeria, when you go to the northeast, we have been battling this Boko Haram insecurity. As a result of that, people have left their farms, they have been displaced, And one good resource that a farmer has is his farmland. Once you displace him, you are now unarm him on everything. Where he is now taking refuge, he may not have that farm that he can farm. And more so, even if he has, he'll be now competing with the people who are host to those places. By that, you know, the volume of the farms that can be put onto, under cultivation has reduced. Those ones have abandoned, and these ones have been fragmented, because if you are to share maybe with your IDP partners in a host community, you can now see that you can only be farming on some fragmented plots. That is one. Then we have these climate events. You know, climate change is taking its own toll also on agriculture production. A typical example now, though we have very good rainfall at the start, but now you can now imagine, you know, the losses that we have sustained over the floods that we have been having all around Nigeria. Maybe typical examples are that happened in Borno, Kebbi, and now Kogi State. You can imagine the number of, you know, hectares that have been inundated by floods, and those hectares, the food that was on it has been lost. For the floods that happened in Maiduguri, even foods in the stores have been lost. So this one now is now adding to the, you know, reduction in the availability of the food in the market, and therefore prices will ultimately go up because of the imbalance between supply and demand of this food.
But now that we have come to this area, how well would you say Nigeria is doing in the area of irrigation? You know, and what more, in your opinion, can be done?
Yeah, I think that is the way to go. We have to diversify our agriculture. Our dependence on rain-fed agriculture has been so intense such that any mishap, you know, in the rain-fed situation, we lost it. And the fact that, you know, most of the people that are responsible for producing the food that we eat in Nigeria, they are people who just live on agriculture. When I say agriculture, they just live on that rainy season cultivation, for which after that, they will be out of employment until another rainy season comes. So we have to engage them. Engage them in what? In what they know better. So every place where there is potential for irrigation, you know, the thing is for those places to be committed to irrigation. And sometimes, you know, for some crops, even they thrive so well under irrigation than even under rain-fed farming. However, irrigation is expensive because you have to provide the moisture yourself. So in this case, this is where now the government will have to come in to provide the enabling environment for this irrigation now to thrive. Having this, you know, the infrastructure, you know, you have to have the water. So by that, you have to have the wells, you have to have the water pumps and all that. So these are some of the things that, you know, our smallholder farmers do not have, which is very, very essential for irrigation farming. So if they can now be provided all those things and can be engaged, like the minister has said, back-to-back production. You produce the rainy season and also continue during the dry season. At the end of the day, you know, the quantum of the food that can be produced will ultimately bring down the prices such that those people who are even going to the farm can afford it in the market, because the supply-demand this thing has been somehow balanced in such a way that people can be able to buy food for their families.